All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. We're going to follow a traveler named Adam today to unpack the really strict but honestly absolutely vital health requirements for entering Egypt. If you've ever planned an overseas trip, you already know there's a mountain of paperwork involved. But when it comes to the land of the pharaohs, well, there's a very specific layer of prep that catches a ton of travelers totally off guard. So today, we're breaking down exactly what you need to know, using a real-world example to kind of guide us through the whole shebang.
Because, we've got to ask, are you truly ready to enter Egypt? Most of us kind of figure, hey, I've got my flight, I've got my tourist visa, I'm completely good to go, right? We pack our bags, plan out the itinerary, and start dreaming about seeing the Sphinx. But the reality? A tourist visa just isn't going to cut it. To actually get past those strict border regulations and make sure your entry is completely smooth, you need what essentially boils down to a specialized health passport. Without it, you could literally find yourself stuck at the arrivals terminal instead of out there marveling at ancient history. And nobody wants that.
Okay, Section 1, Journey to the Pyramids. Let's look at Adam's preparation.
So meet Adam. He's a huge travel buff who's been planning this dream trip to Egypt for ages. But right in the middle of packing, it hits him. Visas are literally just the beginning. Entering Egypt means you have to follow some incredibly strict health protocols. Imagine saving up for months, carefully curating this amazing list of historical sites, surviving a crazy long-haul flight, only to get to customs and realize you're missing one critical health document. Your dream vacation? Derailed in seconds. And these aren't just arbitrary, made-up guidelines. They're put in place by health authorities to keep everyone safe, the locals and us visiting tourists. So they really are your true ticket in.
Moving on to Section 2, the yellow fever rule. And trust me, this is a strict requirement.
So here's where Adam's recent travel history throws a massive wrench in the works. See, before heading to Egypt, he spent a month exploring Brazil, and on his way back, he transited through Angola. By doing that, he unknowingly triggered a major Egyptian border regulation. Egyptian health authorities keep a really close eye on specific regions for yellow fever. The threat is mapped out geographically across African nations like Ethiopia, Sudan, Nigeria, Kenya, and Senegal, and it also covers countries in the Americas like Argentina, Paraguay, Peru, and, yep, Adam's stop in Brazil. If you're coming from or even just passing through these zones, an international certificate of vaccination is absolutely non-negotiable.
And here is a number you literally need to commit to memory. 12. 12 hours. Why is that a game changer? Well, you might be thinking, hey, I never actually left the airport, I just had a layover. Actually, Egyptian border rules are crystal clear on this. Even a brief airport transit that goes over 12 hours in any of those listed countries makes the yellow fever certificate mandatory. Adam had a long layover in Angola, meaning he falls straight into this rule, whether he stepped foot outside those terminal doors or not.
The crucial takeaway here is that this requirement spares pretty much no one. It applies to all incoming travelers starting at just 9 months of age. That means if you're traveling with an infant older than 9 months and you happen to pass through a yellow fever zone for more than 12 hours, they need that official paperwork just as much as you do. It's a blanket rule designed for maximum public health protection.
All right, Section 3, the polio vaccine challenge, looking at Yassin's itinerary.
So Adam isn't flying solo. His good buddy Yassin is coming along. But Yassin's recent travel history is completely different, which means he's staring down an entirely different border obstacle. Yassin actually just spent more than 4 weeks in Pakistan, which activates a completely separate set of regulations under Egyptian law. See, Egypt closely monitors arrivals from countries that have a potential for international polio spread. That list includes Pakistan, Afghanistan, Algeria, and Chad. Because polio is so serious and highly contagious, the government demands extra precautions from anyone who spent significant time in those places to stop the virus from crossing their borders.
And this perfectly illustrates the hurdle Yassin has to clear. If you're arriving from one of those flagged regions, you have to show proof of a polio vaccine dose. But wait, it can't just be a quick note scribbled by your doctor. It has to specifically be either option 1, the BOPV, which stands for the bivalent oral polio vaccine, or option 2, the IPV, the inactivated polio vaccine. Showing documented, official proof of one of those specific options is quite literally the only way Yassin is getting through passport control.
And the timing? Oh, the timing is a puzzle all on its own. It builds this very specific countdown. Yassin can't just dig up his old childhood vaccination record and call it a day. He has to make sure his vaccine dose was administered within an exact, strict window. The absolute earliest allowed date is 12 months prior to travel, and the latest you can get it is 4 weeks before arriving at the Egyptian border. So if he got the shot just 3 weeks ago, or maybe 13 months ago, his paperwork is getting rejected. Precision is everything here.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Golden Health Certificate, the ultimate solution.
Okay, so we've got Adam dealing with the yellow fever rules and Yassin navigating the polio regulations. How do they actually prove to the border agents that they followed all these rules? They need to tie it all together with one singular piece of paperwork, the International Certificate of Vaccination or Prophylaxis. This one little document solves both of their problems. But, and this is a huge but, pay close attention to that Annex 6 part. The document has to be modeled specifically after Annex 6 of the International Health Regulations. You can't just roll up with the printout from your local pharmacy or a handwritten note. It has to be this universally recognized official document with all the right details, the official signatures, and the correct stamps to be accepted at the airport.
Thankfully, Adam and Yassin, they're smart. They did their homework. With their certificates verified and tucked right into their front pockets, their trip is totally secured. Because they actually took the time to understand the nuances of where they traveled, from Adam's stint in Brazil and Angola to Yassin's weeks in Pakistan, they got the right vaccines within the right time frames, and they secured those crucial Annex 6 certificates. You can just picture them confidently boarding that plane, knowing all that diligent prep guarantees a safe, stress-free entry into the country.
Which really just leaves us with one final big question. If your flight took off today, would your travel documents actually pass the test? International health regulations can be a total maze, and they depend heavily on exactly where you've been and for how long. Makes you wonder if you need a quick flashcard quiz to memorize all these countries, transit times, and vaccine windows before your next grand adventure, right? Honestly, it is always, always better to be overprepared than to be turned away at the gate. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, safe travels in your next journey.